Welcome to the Soul Space. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Kim.
And these true life stories are brought to you to inspire growth, healing, and positive changes.
Enjoy.
Hello and welcome, Reverend Bill. I am so excited to finally connect with you. I know we've had a little bit of an interesting start to our chat because we got the time differences a little bit slightly out of sync.
Here's what happened. Here's what happened. I never complained because while I was waiting, somebody I knew that was in surgery, she was able to come out for a few minutes of the surgery. Apparently it's a long surgery all day. And she talked to me on the phone from her surgery. So that wouldn't have happened had I been on broadcast here. So see, everything pays off. So
100%. I'm finding that however much I try and structure and plan my days, there's the universe and everything else comes in. And I'm getting pulled in different directions and things aren't always, well, things have to be the way they're meant to be, aren't they? We have to kind of go with where we're. And time here and when we're working with the spirits and the ancestors and the guides, everything, yeah, they alter things a lot. But it's always as it should be.
I don't try to control everything. I can control my emotions, how I react to something, my attitude.
Yeah.
That's it. It's I'm very, very easy when it comes to the world. Everything in my life happens because it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
That's my thing. So I figure no matter what happens, I've manifested it at some level for some purpose. I'm not here to cause a revolution, but to generate evolution. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just trying to get people to move forward. No matter where you start, not for me to judge.
And you look great, I have to say.
Well,
and
I'll tell you what it is, because if you really looked at me, and I got scars everywhere. I mean, I've had some major cut-up surgeries here in the last 4 years. Over 300 some stitches in this face. The nose has been cut off 3 times. I mean, gone.
What was that from, Bill?
Cancer. And I don't know if you can see it, but this was sliced all down here, and the big tumors came out of there. Thought they were going to take my eyeballs. Top of my head was cut with the saw a couple times. I mean, the list goes on. And it's like, I could show you these terrible pictures, and it's like, What happened was, every time I finished the surgery, I practiced what I teach, self-healing. And I love the hole in my face. I love the scars. I love the cancer. And then 3 weeks after the surgery, it's looking like this. So, I mean,
With healing. And that's the power. That's the power we actually
self-love.
possess, isn't it? Absolutely.
Self-love.
And here at the Soul Space, because we're a new channel, we're gathering lovely momentum, but we're all about inspiring, uplifting, and sharing about the power of, self-love, the practices that are out there, just, as you say, evolving. And I know that you have got, because I have recently been listening to lots of your videos, and I am in awe of your story, and you have so much to share. But I really want to kind of recap for people that aren't, especially over here in the UK, who have never met or listened to your stories and podcasts, Bill. Just want to recap. So could we go back in time a little bit? Because then I do want to come to what you do now and your talks and your work that you're doing now. But just to give people an insight, because you are very connected, your intuition is on a different level. You've always had the gift, but you've had a very interesting and not your average life. So
apparently not, from what I can gather. What? You don't astral travel? What? You can't be in 2 places at once? What? You don't time travel? What? You haven't had near-death experiences? What? You don't know what somebody's thinking? I mean, the list goes on. I'm going, really? You don't see orbs, and saints and sages and angels? Come on, what's wrong with you? Anyway, that's my world.
This is all normal, and more people are starting to, discuss and be more open about these things. Where back in the day, people that have a spiritual awakenings, or the gifts suddenly, because yours have always been there, and they've just developed stronger and stronger over time, haven't they? Some people get on like overnight, boom, they've woken up, and then sadly, amount of people I know who've been sectioned or things like that have happened. But it is perfectly natural. It is part of who we are and what we're capable of. But let's go back in time, Bill. Bedtime stories with Bill.
Okay.
Where do you want to start?
The very, very beginning, the most humble start. Because I don't tell this story too often. But my birth. No, it wasn't in a manger, and there wasn't any visitors from the Far East. But my mother goes to the doctor in San Francisco, the hospital, and says, I'm getting ready to give birth. I've had other kids. I know it's time. And the nurses go, no, we got time. We're going to give you an enema first. So while she's getting the enema, you know where this story is going, while she's getting the enema into the bedpan, this metal, stainless steel bedpan, I plop head first into a pile of crap. And that was kind of like the beginning of my life. You can't get much more humble than starting life out with a mouthful of crap. But being an Irishman, it hasn't made any difference. So there you go. If you got a more humble story, tell me.
I know somebody who was born and he ended up, I can't remember the full details of it, but he ended up kind of off the bed and skidding along the floor type thing. I don't know what happened there. There's been quite a few interesting entrances into this realm, shall we say, into this world. But that is definitely one for the books, that one, 100%. So fast forward, Bill, and your childhood and your younger days. So tell us a little bit about how that was for you, and because I know that you did Vietnam, didn't you?
Yep. Got Vietnam, got blown up, got shot in the heart, got 6, 7 helicopter crashes, almost captured by the North Vietnamese. It was your normal tour of duty there. I knew who was going to get killed, who was going to get wounded, what aircraft were going to get shot down. But here's the deal. Vietnam was just another part of the journey. It doesn't make a big imprint on me. It was a year of my life, and some miraculous stuff happened that I was investigated by the CIA, my government, CIA, and everything else, because they go, how do you know which aircraft are going to get shot down? How do you know these guys are going to get killed? I did. I was investigated quite thoroughly. And in fact, that was in 1967. In 2005 or 6 or something, I was contacted by the CIA. They were studying my case, and were trying to figure out how I did it. I said, well, you got a few lifetimes and you want to meditate 8, 10, 12 hours a day. Well, I'll show you how to do this. And they didn't like that. They thought they could spend money and create some way to do this. I had friends that were in the Stargate program, which was the remote viewing and all that. I don't volunteer for anything.
Because they have that was quite heavily invested in and utilized.
It's I don't use my abilities and talents for that. It would be like me going into a casino and using my talents for that. It's wrong. It's a wrong use of energy. So if I could save somebody's life, that's a different thing. Anyway, So my whole childhood, to be honest with you, because you're looking for a beginning part of the story, there's no part that was utterly changed dramatically by anything. I started off meditating, or as I can remember, making up my own meditations and stuff, meeting people from other worlds, literally. Everything from angels to aliens to masters to whatever. And had a near-death experience at 8 years old, and then had Um, and then in school, I got in trouble a little bit because I went to the principal and some of the people at the high school and said, President Kennedy is going to get killed this month when he goes to Texas, Dallas, Texas. Yeah. And then he did. And it's like, how'd you know? Right. I go, no, I know. I saw the whole thing already,
Did
so.
that come through a dream or a vision, or was you told through
Well,
a
actually,
guide? Or because actually,
it came from my
sorry,
near-death experience at eight and a half years old, where instead of having a past life review, I was shown 50 years in advance. So that was just a matter of deja vu. Oh, I remember thus my title on my newest book, I Remember Tomorrow. I always remember tomorrow. I have a hard time remembering why I walked into a room or where my keys are at, but I always remember tomorrow. Um, it's better than remembering yesterday. I can't remember the names of some, but it's very clear. The vision for tomorrow is very clear. Always has been. And so that's been kind of my life. It's like my wife, when I met her in high school, I already saw when I was 8.5 years old, I already saw her in this vision, and she was going to be my wife. And of course, she thought I was crazy. And uh, we've been married 55 plus years. I don't know, something past that. So, yeah, she was my high school sweetheart. And we met in 1960, but we didn't get married until January 3rd of 1970. I went to Europe. I went to Hawaii. I went to Vietnam. I mean, I had all kinds of stuff. She went to University of California, Berkeley, and the golden child, the smartest girl in the school. And then everybody in school makes fun of her now because, well, you're not so smart. You married Bill. And I got to agree.
very
That wasn't too smart of a move. Anyway,
funny.
so my childhood was interesting and unique, but it was always, I mean, even at the age of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I was into yoga. I was into Tibetan philosophy. I was into Indian culture. I was into metaphysics. I was into beatnik poetry, uh, big time, and jazz and Shakespeare and whole different. And then I had a folk singing group in the 60s that were big in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, the Midnight Three. And we were the best young act in the Bay Area. I mean, because we were the cheapest, number one. We were in high school. And hey, we got enough to buy pizza and gas. Hey, meet some girls. We're good. Anyway,
Some.
yeah. So we were a folk singing group, and that was a success. And so I've done these little aspects of my life. And then I bummed around Europe. And then, of course, I went to the day after high school graduation, being a California surfer. Where'd I go? I had to go to Mecca, right? I had to go to Hawaii, surf wax board. Let's go. With $40 in my pocket on a one-way ticket, which was not the smartest thing I ever did. But see, I felt drawn to go to Hawaii, and I met this Kahuna there. Think of a shaman like in South America or some Hawaiian Islands. Hawaiian ancient Hawaiian religion is Kahunaism. So the guy is the priest or whatever, he's Kahuna. Now California and the surfers go, yeah, the big Kahuna. That's got nothing to do with it. The real deal is there really are these saintly shaman type beings practicing the old methods and teachings of the Kahuna religion. And so I ran out of money in Hawaii, and I was given the address of this Kahuna. I didn't know it was Kahuna. Somebody just said, "Hey, my sister was dating a guy whose grandfather lived there, and he said, hey, if you get in trouble here, my grandfather knows a lot of people, maybe get you a job." So I knocked on his door, and this guy comes, and he's got this white hair, and he's 60 something. He's got the big eyes, and he looks just like you would think a witch doctor would look, right? He's like, in fact, he was in 3 movies in Hollywood playing that exact role. I mean, big time stuff, right? And he was a friend of Eisenhower's and Otto Preminger and all these guys. Anyway, so I'm 18 years old. I'm knocking on his door, and he looks at me. And he just stares at me. Let's go. He says, "I've been waiting for you." Well, he didn't even know I was coming. Like, how could you be waiting? He says, "No." Um, he says, in previous lifetime during King Kamehameha's days, And he was the king, the guy united the islands. King Kamehameha, for those in Europe, they don't know. He was the king of the Hawaiian Islands, the first one. He conquered all the other islands, and anyway, with his army. But under King Kamehameha, I was the Kahuna priest. I was the head of all the spiritual stuff. And according to him, I was his Kahuna. I was his teacher, his guru, his shaman. And even though he was in his 60s, and I'm 18 years old, and he's telling me that I know more than him, and I'm going, what is this guy? I just want to get a job so I can find some surfing time and, get a new board and get a place to stay. Anyway, so that's another old story. We talk about the Kahuna religion because I go back every so often. I'm working with them, and yeah, there's a power in the old Kahuna tradition. And when I was in India, I met a guru who was a Nath yogi in the Nath yoga tradition. And he said, by the way, he said, Bill, because he knows I had an interest in Hawaii, he says, the Nath tradition and the Kahuna religion were the same energy, half a world apart. And even though the chants, the culture, the language was different, and ceremonies were different, pujas and stuff were different, he said it's the same energy. It's the same. It's the one. It's the closest two energies in the world that relate for any kind of religious background or anything. So, which was interesting because I'm in India and I got all kinds of stuff going on there. Anyway, so I was 18. I don't know if that's a normal childhood to be told that you're this great saint saver, and then you taught all these kahunas. And at 18 years old, I'm going. But he told me something, and this is where this hat comes in. He told me something at 18. He says, you want to learn how to heal? I said, I'm already healing people. And I was. Dogs, people. I was already a healer at 9 years old, practicing my own techniques. He says, yeah. He says, but I'm going to teach you the old Kahuna way. I said, okay. So I'm going to get a notebook out. Maybe he's going to really give me something. And he comes, he says, I'm going to teach you 3 things. I said, okay, great. I'm waiting for some rituals and stuff. Number 1, you got to love yourself. So I'm going, what? He says, it all starts there. And then you got to forgive yourself. Okay, fine. And this goes on and on. He says, then you got to have for gratitude. And I'm going, okay, fine. So I put the stuff down. I figured I'd never use that. And then about 10 or 15 years later, he'd been dead for a long time. And I finally realized that all along, I've been using that love, forgiveness, and gratitude on everything I do. I've just formalized it now as I travel around the world, no matter what group I work with, whether it's in Salt Lake City, Utah with Mormons, or it's in Texas at with a Catholic group, or if I'm in a Baptist church in the South, or if I'm in a Hindu temple in India. It doesn't matter where I go and what religion it is, because I'm not teaching any dogma. No religion. I don't try to convert anybody. It makes you happy, believe whatever you want. Call God anything you want. God don't care. Jesus wasn't a Christian. Buddha wasn't a Buddhist. God has no religion. It's all right. Not offending anybody. Do whatever you want. It makes you happy. Great.
Everyone. This is for everyone.
Yeah.
Energy.
So I go around the world and I could give a lecture for 2 hours, 4 hours, all day, 3 days, 2 weeks. It doesn't matter. All based on these 3 concepts. And it's just how deep you want to go into that, because love is very deep. And it starts with loving yourself, which people don't understand. I'm teaching a self-healing workshop like in Switzerland and in Germany in particular. And these guys go, what's DOS? What's self-love got to do with healing? I go, that is the foundation of all healing. And it's also the lack of that is the foundation of all disease. Because when you love yourself, and then you realize yourself and God are one. So when you're loving you, you're loving God. When you're loving God, you're loving you. And if you're loving your neighbor, you're loving God in your neighbor, and you're loving God in yourself. It's the greater us. And then if you love your enemy, You don't have to like your enemy. Just got to be clear. You don't have to like your enemy, but you have to love your enemy. And then when you realize that everything is you, or you get to another plane, which is everything is us, which is more inclusive. It's not me, it's us. We're all one. So when you get there, true healing happens. But it starts off with self-love. If you don't have self-love, you can't love God, you can't love anybody else. And if you don't have self-forgiveness, you can't forgive anyone else. It's not going to happen. So you have to have something to give it. So if you have love for yourself, you can give love. If you have self-forgiveness, you can give forgiveness. And then the part that everybody leaves out is gratitude. Because people think, well, I'm grateful for the money, my job, my house. Well, no. I'm grateful for the cancer that almost destroyed my body, and it's still working at it I'm still fighting cancer since 1979, but it's given me the tools I need to teach people how to heal that and deal with the pain. And so no matter what happens in your life, I'm not one of these guys that says nothing wrong with it, but people will say, well, it's a lesson. They don't look now because that sounds like a punishment. I would say, look for the gift. And they go, what do you mean? You got cancer. They just cut your nose off for the third time. I go, yes, 3 times it's been cut off, right? And I'm grateful for every time. I've learned something for every time it's got cut off. And then my credentials for other people to see how healing works, when they see me and then they see the nose off and then they see me 3-4 weeks later and I'm back looking like this, wow, they become very receptive to healing. Oh, it works. Yes, it works. It's not magic. Self-love. Loving the cancer. Wants to love your enemy? Well, think of the enemy as cancer, right? Love cancer. It's your enemy. Love it. So,
and that's the formula, Bill, isn't it? And I mean, you're testament to that, but there's also numerous accounts of people's testimonies of their own personal journeys in documentaries and books over time. I mean, in the ancient scriptures, it says about the power of love. There is a power in that. But for a lot of people who are struggling with that, don't understand what, people say, because here we do mantra a lot about gratitude. Wake up, the first thing, Mr. Wayne Dyer, I love him. I followed him for, it's the thank you. And I had this test numerous times, even last year, the day after my terminally ill father passed from cancer, waking up the following morning, my heart's in pieces. And the first thing I said is thank you. Not because he's gone, not because of anything other than the love that was binding us all as a family around him at that time. Can't change. Couldn't undo, couldn't undo the suffering and the hurt and the heartbreak that came with it. But there was a gratitude in there for that experience, because as we were talking earlier, because we did a podcast earlier, Kim and I, there is magic and medicine in the challenges and the trials and tribulations of life. And I think these things as well really do make us find gratitude for a cup of tea and the laughter and the moments of peace in nature and those beautiful, profound moments. Without that rough and hard, we can't appreciate the soft and the love. But the gratitude is so important, isn't it?
see,
But for
I
people
think
that are
some people,
struggling for that, they're like, well, why should I be grateful because I was abused, or this is going on around me, or
yeah,
this has happened and that's happened and I didn't ask for this, and I'm in this abusive relationship. Da, 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 da. What would be your advice, Bill? What would you say?
well, first off, you have to be grateful for absolutely everything in your life. You can't pick and choose. Well, I was poor. I was abused. I was in the war. I was shot. By an AK-47 in the heart. Right. I was
Yeah.
blown up. I mean, I'm grateful for all that. It's everything has given me insight. It's given me experience. It's given me whatever it is I need at that time in life. Trouble with most people is they can't have gratitude for the bad things. Well, I lost a child. How could you have gratitude for that? So first off, you should be thankful for all the years you had them. You had all that love during that time. That's a good thing. And I'm not hard on these people at all because it's like that's the hardest thing. You lose a child. They're not ready for a lecture. Never will be ready for a lecture. But at some point in time, they'll realize that there was a gift there, and the child, even though the child is gone, the child has taught them something. And then when they get through this period, they don't have to forget the child. They can still mourn, but they realize there's something. There's a gift there. Find the gift. And if the gift is just helping other people get through it, that's one thing, or just appreciating the love they got at that time. But they have to always realize that everything in their life was manifested by them. There's no accidents. There's no random rolling of the dice and oh, yeah, you get cancer, you got to go to war, you got this. No, it's everything you manifested. Because people always ask me, how do I manifest these things? And I go over to their house and they got, I don't know what you call it there, but they got boards on the refrigerator with magnets and they got, a picture of a car and a great job. And, they're trying to manifest things in their life, positive statements and, and I am rich. I'm, all this stuff, which is, it misses the point. They're trying to create what they really need at a deeper level through things when they really should try to be manifesting inner joy, peace, love. And you don't get that through a new car. And you don't get that through a better job or more money in the bank. Those things will last days, weeks, months, whatever. So I'm out there teaching people, if you're going to manifest something, manifest love. Let's just start there. Start and finish there. It doesn't matter. So no matter what cards you were dealt in life, like, oh, I lost this person, lost my parents, and, and blah, forget it. First off, everybody you know is going to die. I don't want to let the secret out and ruin everybody who didn't know that, but everybody you know is going to die, except for Elvis. I mean, he's still out there someplace. I think he's working at a Costco or a Walmart someplace. Maybe he's in Brighton. Anyway, so Elvis is still alive, but everybody else is destined for the ash heap. I mean, that's just it, ashes to ashes. So, and when you're gone, within 2 to 3 generations, nobody will ever remember you. Unless you're god awful bad like Hitler, people remember him. Or you wrote some great book like Shakespeare, people might remember him. But normal people, you're gone 3 generations. You're not even a thought anymore.
You got a window, people. You got a window. You've got a time. We've all got a time. Whether that time was just slightly, to touch the earth for a moment, or it was 101, or we've all got a period of time, haven't we, my lovely? And in that time, we want, and that's the whole reason we come. We want to fill it with as many experiences as we can. The light and the dark, the up and the down, the hard, the soft. Because in everything, there is magic and wisdom and, growth and involvement. We are evolving.
Well, I got this view that we come at the time for us, for whatever we have to add to this. The Irish got this Irish stew where whatever's left laying around the house, you throw it in, potato, cabbage, whatever you got, right? Just whatever's left over, you throw it in there and it's an Irish stew, right? It doesn't matter what it is. There's no measuring ingredients, you throw it in. So that's kind of like you come into life when life needs your element, what you're going to add. So everybody's got to come and add something to that. And people keep thinking they got to discover a cure for cancer, get a Nobel Peace Prize, they got to do something spectacular, when in essence, there's no such thing as a small love. Coming in and being a parent and raising a child with love, taking care of your spouse, taking care of a plant, taking care of a cat, taking care of foster kids, taking care of strangers, just being a teacher, being you, smiling at strangers, whatever it may be, there's no small amount of love. In Ireland, they got this old thing when you're living in a village, small village, most especially, you walk in a path, going through town or someplace, and you never pass anybody without giving them a gift. And if it's just a thought, you know, bless you. Bless you, bless you, Sean. Yeah, whatever it is. There's a blessing, there's a
Morning to
gift.
you, leaping leprechauns, potato, blessing you.
Bless you, yeah, bless you. Yeah,
I'm a
great.
bit Jamaican.
So, if you give a flower, you give a prayer, you give love, even if it's just a thought. You don't pass people without making a connection. Now, if you live in New York City, you can't do that. You go crazy. There's mobs of people. But if you're living in a village, you can do that, right? But the essence is, when you meet somebody, add something to their existence that they wouldn't have had they not met you. And to me, it's to give them love. And you don't have to say "I love you." It's here. You just broadcast it. It's like radiation. It's just there. They're close enough; they'll be exposed. It's there. So yeah. So we're here for a purpose, and each of us think we have a different purpose because this guy's school teacher and this guy's this and that. Everybody's got different job, occupation, things. But in the essence of everything rolls down to service. Service rolls into love, because if you're really serving with love, that's the greatest service. And the way you do that, no matter what you do, like you're working on a job, you're working in a factory. If you're working for the factory and for the man and the boss and the company, well, you're never going to get any satisfaction. But if you're working for the God that dwells in the owner of that company, and you're working for the God that's in your boss, and everything is done with love and service to the God in them, not the corporate structure, but the God in them. So everything you do is a service to the divine. Everything. Sweeping the floor, doing a data sheet, doesn't matter. If everything is done to please the divine within all, then everything you do basically is a puja. Everything you do is a mass. Everything you do is sacred. And so when you start treating, if you got a repair shop for automobiles, got dents in them from accidents, right? And you're pounding them up, and you're pounding them out for God. You're pounding them out. Hey, Jesus is for you. I'm fixing this up. It doesn't matter. It's your attitude and who you're really truly serving. If you're serving man, you'll never get the benefit other than paycheck. If you want to get past the paycheck and give from the heart to the divine, then you get a much bigger paycheck coming. It's a spiritual feedback. It's some spiritual energy coming back at you. And it changes those people around you. You want to change the world? Change yourself. All the great ones have said that, but nobody listens. But it's really true.
Truth. That is the truth. That is the formula. That's the magic. That's the solution. However, I feel that with all goodwill and intention, a lot of people they do want to grow, they do want to heal, they want to evolve. They want to move forward and come away from a lot more negative mindsets and all these things. But we just keep encouraging, like a mantra. Start small, just don't overwhelm yourself. Just bring this intention into your world, even if it starting with like small with yourself. Well, start with yourself, absolutely.
That's it.
And then don't feel like, oh gosh, he's right. I keep hearing about this. It's coming into my frequency, and my world's a lot more about self-love and gratitude and forgiveness and, being of service, but it's stepping stones, isn't it? You can't just step out one day and go, oh, that's it. I've got it. I'm done it. I'm here. I'm going to, it doesn't always kind of work like that, does it? It takes practice. And if you slip out of alignment with it, pull yourself back in. Practice.
Here's the deal. Everybody's one, but we're part of this cosmic consciousness, right? But we're at different levels of enlightenment. And depending on what time frame you're in, We're working right now in today, March 18th. Okay. What I was going to say 19 something, 2025.
2025. When did that happen, Bill?
All right. So, but here's the deal. 1946 is still alive. It's still happening right now. 2100 still, it's happening. It's all, there ain't no time that's not happening now. We're focused here. But in some future now, if I can say future, some future now, you and I are Buddhists. We've already reached that point of enlightenment, and we've got that status. That's your destiny.
We talk about it being the future self, calling,
So,
encouraging.
yeah, but most people, they get hung up in the dream of today.
Yeah.
And they're still complaining about yesterday. They do. They complain about all this crap that happened in the past, and they wake up and they're worried about tomorrow. They haven't even lived this moment. It's hard, but people say you got to live in the now. Well, this conversation we're having is not even in the now, because once I've uttered it, it's gone. Where's now at? We'll capture that moment that's now. Whatever you think is now is already gone. Yeah, it's
Gone.
it's gone. But in time, everything is there. So that's why if you're meditating, you're doing these advanced yoga techniques like Kriya Yoga and Hong Saw and Om technique and some multiple techniques that are really good. They say you can advance. So how do you advance if you got karma from the past? Well, while you're working in this lifetime, changing you, you're actually changing you in the past as well. So you're actually burning karma because you're changing the old you simultaneously at the same time. And you're also changing the you for the future. So you're stepping everything up. That's why the Indians in India, they got this thing about if you become very saintly and powerful spiritual being, that not only will you change yourself and your immediate family, but you'll change 7 generations back of family and 7 generations forward. What they call I call spiritual DNA. I don't know what they call it, but it's like spiritual DNA. So you could influence your great, great, great grandchildren just by being the best you can be. They don't hear your lectures. They don't have to even know you, but you're affecting their spiritual genetics. And so they will be born into a family that has these qualities, and it'll attract them. And that's how this whole thing sets up, basically. That's what I'm telling people. We don't need any more monks that don't get married and live in a cave. We really need householder yogis that are going out and marrying householder women that are going to help become great mothers, and he's going to be a great father, and they're going to raise spiritual family together. And that is the next wave. As soon as we get through this garbage we're getting through right now, because this is like the end of this bad cycle, world cycle. We probably got 30 years to go of crap, the Donald Trumps and the Putins of the world and all the unrest and all that stuff. It's all part of the progress. Even though they all look like they're, sand in the gears, it's all part of the progress because you have to dissolve the old and get people to change their thinking and everything else. So it looks bad now, but everything is evolutionary. It's all moving forward, even though it looks like fundamentally it's worse. And that I blame on modern communications. I don't think mankind was ever born to live in a community more than 150 people. It's like a small little group, and everything happens there. Everybody, they weren't made to be hearing about something that happens in Afghanistan and Russia and Africa and America. All this bad news every day within an hour of their happening. I don't think our spirit can take that much feedback negatively every day. And yet with iPhones, pads, computers, TVs. We're connected with all the bad happenings in the world more than we ever were, ever. And I don't think that's a good thing. So,
Energetically,
yeah. So,
spiritually, mentally, emotionally, that is you're consuming something, and you're consuming a dense, low vibrational energy that's got a lot of fear, a lot of untruths, a lot of, it's very clever what they're doing, but people have to be responsible for what they're consuming, not just foods, but what they're hearing, what they're watching. I got rid of my TV 5 years ago because I just went, no,
no, it
gone.
drags me down.
Music.
I'm refusing to watch the news. I catch the weather because I have to know what's going on. And you can't, if you go on the internet for anything, you'll see headlines. I don't want to get much deeper in the headline. That's bad enough. But you can't bury your head in the sand. But to live every day with an hour or two of news on cable television, I'm going, why?
Toxic.
You can't you can't emotionally handle it, and spiritually it's damaging. So you change you create the vibration and the frequency in your household. Your children feel it, your spouse feels it. And it's like a rock on a pond, right? It creates ripples, right? Other people will feel it to a lesser degree. But you can't go out and try to change people, convert people to your way of thinking. And there's some people out there, no matter what you do, they're not ready for that information yet. When they're ready, their teacher will come. Because there's some teachers out there, you go, why are they following this guy? This guy's really terrible. That's what they need. They will follow what they need. So once you get past the need to change everybody, because everybody has that, oh, I got the answers now. Everybody, what's all these stupid people out there? It's no, let people catch up. Because since all time is now, nobody's beating you to enlightenment. We're all time is now. We're all going to get there at the same time. Nobody's going to hell. Nobody's damned. And ultimately, we just find that we're the greater us, and there's this group hug. It's when you're sharing one mind, the cosmic mind, then your empathy and your sympathy and your love and all these things you come into play, and you realize that you're part of everything. That includes destroying the environment. I mean, my God, I wouldn't pour oil in the stream as water's going down someplace, because that's also part of me, and I'm contaminating that well or whatever it is, source of water. So when you see all as a part of yourself, then you don't harm others, you don't harm yourself. And dropping bombs on people, that's not good for anybody. Someday somebody will figure that out, and there will be less wars eventually. But only when and until people discover that people that are not like them are them. There's no separation. Well, people have this thing, and it starts with churches. Churches is the greatest separator of people. I'm Muslim. I'm Catholic. I'm Seventh-day Adventist. I'm Jehovah's Witness. I'm Baptist. I'm, Protestant. Just all these, and every one of them, if you ask them all, every one of them, they're right. Nobody else is right. They're right. It's the right interpretation. And you waste your time trying to just let them go. I always ask people, are you happy believing what you believe in? They go, yeah. I go, great. I'm happy for you. End of story. Move on. But if you're not trying to teach them dogma or scripture or convert them to any thought process other than love and forgiveness, you're all right. So when I go out and I give sermons every month, I'm serving someplace, some church, every religion you can think of. In fact, last one I gave in Britain, it was in Brighton, a spiritualist church and a unity church. A spiritualist church was the last one I gave there. And I gave them something that group could handle and they could identify with. But I found that everybody can identify with love and forgiveness. Everybody. And if you don't go down religious path, but you go down a spiritual path, they'll go with you. And that's all you can ask for. And if they want to worship in that house or that church or temple, God don't care. As long as it's not hurting anybody, that's okay. But most churches hate homosexuals. They hate non-believers, heathen. I mean, they got a list of things that no, we're going to heaven, but all these other people are going to hell, right? So there's judgments, and I don't even judge them for that. That's where they're at, and that's the hardest thing to get to is a place where you go, that's okay. It's okay if I don't agree with them. It's okay that I think they're an idiot, but it's okay. It doesn't matter. When they're ready, the right teacher will come. And if I'm not the right teacher for them, then I'm wasting my time. They're not ready for my message. So each of us, we have our little place down here, and we come into life and we try to find a niche. And I'm telling people, don't try so hard. Just be loving. That's it. You'll find a way to share it.
Give
Just
things that have caused your heart, caused pain, or you have done to others. Forgive yourself, forgive others. Forgive. It's really important, isn't it? Find the gratitude.
Yeah, and gratitude.
Be the love.
If you're doing everything else and you have no gratitude, then you're basically telling God he's failing you, or she, depending on what you believe. People have a set image of God. Most people treat God like Santa Claus. God, I need this. They got a list of gifts they want. And God, here's one that gets me. You're supposed to be of great faith. And what do when you're sick? You call up God. Hey God, I got pneumonia and I got cancer and I got blah blah blah. Like God doesn't know you have that already? And you're telling God, well, this is a mistake. I shouldn't have this. Take it away. Sorry. So, and then people look at me, well, we're just supposed to, no, take whatever actions you need to take. But realize when you're praying to God, you're saying God ain't here. God's someplace else. The kingdom of God is within. You are your own healer. You are your own teacher. You're your own guru. You're your own kahuna. And when you embrace that and take responsibility instead of asking God, well, why am I a victim? God, I need you to fix this. Take your own actions. Start loving yourself. But so anyway, you asked me what I do. I don't think I answered your question, but
So I've kind of got loads of questions, but
I'm
I'm just loving the organic flow.
I just
And
kind of
I
wandered
just
off
trusted and had faith that whatever was naturally going to come through today, which it is, and I love that. It took me a long time, Bill, to connect with God, the Creator. But when I was a little girl, I always used to love sitting in graveyards and churches. I used to skip school. Too much going on in there a lot of the time. And then they'd be the places I'd go and I'd sit and I would naturally chat. And so it was always there. And when I did finally, after a lot of work and I'm still doing all that work, I'm still growing, Bill, and still, I'm in a very blessed and fortunate position in my life, the best position I've been in to date, cleaning out a lot of stuff, a lot more connected. My heart and mind is very open, and I'm being of service, and this is part and parcel. But my life is not challenge or perfect at all, challenge free or perfect. There's a lot of stuff going on which tests me all the time. However, the connection with the love frequency. Perseverance, practicing, and finally, I got it. I got the connection. And wow. That's all I can say. Wow. I cried with absolute joy. And I got shown so much. I felt the connection to absolutely everything. And I didn't want to come back. I didn't have an out-of-body experience, or I wasn't blown up to have that experience. However, I did get it. And I didn't believe it was possible. I didn't know, I think. But at the right time, when I was ready, and I said, how come I've not been able to achieve this before? And I was shown and told, your heart just wasn't open, Sarah. You blocked me out. And I think that's the thing. A lot of people, the heart is just closed to themselves. So when when your heart is closed to you, power of love, you're closed off the God energy, the creator energy, that incredible life force energy that's created literally absolutely everything that we are all part of. So when you say we are connected, I understand and totally get that. But so many people don't, because they haven't felt that yet. They're not experienced that yet.
It's our ego that has a personal story and a history. I am Sarah. I am Bill. And then you got everything that goes with that. And if you buy into that, then you're separate. And since we're both sitting here in a body, obviously there's separation between us and the divine. But as we evolve to these different levels of enlightenment, it gets less and less and less ego. You reach a point at some time where you don't need a body anymore. But see, just dying doesn't make you a saint, doesn't make you an angel. Like, oh, I died. I know. No, you're still you. You're still just as ignorant. Life goes on, but and you don't have the pain. But all of a sudden, Hitler just doesn't all of a sudden become on the other side of saint. It's no. And so, but if you believe in your identity, then you believe in birth, life, pain, suffering, joy. If you believe in those things, then you believe in death. If you believe in death, then you believe in heaven. Some people believe in hell. I think there's no hell, but whatever. And then you believe in angels. Once you believe all this, and then you believe in reincarnation because you bought all this other stuff too. None of it is real. None of it is real. Because I was asked I think it was in Bulgaria or some country, 2019, I was on a radio show. And the guy goes, obviously, Reverend Bill, I've watched your videos, I've read, you obviously believe in reincarnation. And I stopped and I go, actually, I don't even believe in incarnation. The guy goes, what? I said, this isn't real. It's just God playing these different roles through our egos. We all think we're individuals. We're all separate, but it's only one. It's only one. No matter how many billions are played, it's only one.
Explain that more to people who wouldn't get that, because that's quite intricate, Bill.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can't have that conversation with somebody that's lost somebody, or somebody's going through great pain and suffering, because it's like, no, there's that audience for that message is very small. Because
so this is like a great divine experience that we're all simultaneously experiencing in different facets, but we're all we all come back to
there's only one mind, but this one mind is capable of multiple dreams, and each of us think we're the dreamer.
Have a research of that, viewers.
So there you go. So
I love it. So Bill,
yeah,
I want to talk a bit about. I do want to talk about your experience. Is that all right if I kind of time hop a little bit? Because we can time travel, can't we?
You go wherever you want to go.
I love that. I've kind of traveled back a few times in time, and
actually, I got
had a little whisper in my ear when I was a kid.
Yeah, okay. Anyway.
But sorry, what was you going to say, my lovely?
What was that?
Was you going to say something? We've got a little bit of feedback.
I was just going to say, literally, you can travel through time. I've done that. So, but that's another story. I didn't know if you wanted to actually travel through time, but if you wanted to move around on this thing. We can go anywhere you.
I love all that, Do you know what? Just so you know, people, we are definitely opening minds and hearts in this one. But I know I've been doing things through just deep practice of, I'll say deep meditations where I've gone
Okay.
and I'll put it like that. And been able to go back and visit certain key moments and plant some seeds with things. That's but what I was going to say, I want to talk about your experience because I found this like profound. You said earlier, and we know that you have been shot at, Bill. It's not your
Oh, yeah.
average, is it? You've
Many
been blown
times.
up. It's not your average.
Many times.
Okay.
All of the above.
And but your intuitive gift saved. Now I've really homed in on this, and I felt this. Your intuitive gift on this one occasion saved children.
Yes.
Was it a school down there? Was it also? I'm not sure what the building was.
This was in Vietnam along the Ho Chi Minh Trail next to Cambodia. And it was an area where there was a lot of Viet Cong, the bad guys, the VC, right? And I had a new pilot. He was a major from graduate of West Point, the military academy, by the book, and he was stationed in Germany. So he had no combat till he got there. Been in country 3 weeks and he thought he knew it all. And I'm trying to tell the guy, I go, hey, you're flying at the wrong altitude. He was trying to see where landmarks were at so he could navigate. And I'm telling him, look, you can't be up here a few hundred feet. You got to get down on top of the trees. Otherwise, you're a target. Anyway, that's another whole thing. Anyway, so we're flying over this area, and he looks down and he sees what looks like enemy troops marching in a formation down a dirt road from this hamlet. And it looked like they were all carrying weapons on their shoulders. That's what it looked like. I give him credit for that. That's exactly what it looked like. And there was a guy in black in the front. They're all wearing black pajamas. And he says, it's Viet Cong down there, the enemy down there. Go smack, get on your machine gun, fire on these guys. And I'm going, no, it's not what you think it is, because intuitively I knew.
At that time.
Oh, yeah. And plus, when I had a near-death experience when I was young, I saw myself behind a machine gun, and I knew I was going to, and this sounds crazy, like, who do you think I am? The decision I made then changed history. If I would have followed what I was told to do, it would have made ugly history, like My Lai massacre or something. Because it turned out he wanted me to fire my machine gun on what turned out to be children coming from the village to go to the community garden, vegetable garden, and it was being led by a priest in black, of course. And these kids were like, you kids. And they had hoes and rakes and shovels on their shoulders. And he's telling me to fire at them with the machine gun that fires 750 rounds, 7.62 millimeters, big rounds. I could have killed them all in seconds. Seconds. It would have changed the whole course of history. For all those families, for the news, for the world, opinion, America, the whole thing. It would have really changed things. And I said, no, I'm not doing it. And he gave me a direct order and said, you don't do this. I'm going to court-martial you. You got to go to jail. I said, do whatever you got to do.
So at this time, he's still believing there. You don't know the children still at this point.
I don't know that. No, we don't know. But I know I'm not going to do it. And so then he asked the gunner on the other side, because we turn the helicopter around the other machine gun. And that guy goes, now I've seen too many things with McDonald. I've been 6 months with him. And if he says something ain't right, I'm listening. And so he was told that was mutiny because 2 or more soldiers disobeying a direct order is considered mutiny, and that's punishable by firing squad or life in prison. I'd still be in jail today from 1967. So I thought that was pretty gutsy. I'm going, well, I don't mind making the decision for me, but this guy really trusts me. I better be right? Because we're both going to be in jail. And this guy's serious. And I finally told him, I said, look, fly down low. If it's the bad guys, they'll shoot at me, and I'll get them all. It's not a problem. we fly down there and we see its children and a priest. And I didn't see the guy's face, but I was imagining his face probably went white. Um, but had I fired following orders, just like the Germans, only following orders, right? It wasn't an excuse then, still not an excuse. But the military is so afraid of people making judgments and not following orders. That's the most severely punished crime you can do in the military. Had I gotten drunk and killed a fellow soldier, I'd been 7 years in jail at the time. But not following orders in combat was death or life. That shows you where the values are at, right? So that's why people obey an order when they're given it, because it's really serious if you don't. And I said no. So I stood up for what I believed. And if I was wrong, I'd been in jail today. If they didn't kill me, I'd been in jail still. Would have changed my life. But had I followed orders, the world would look not very well on the actions of the United States Army or the government and everything else. That would have reflected bad on everybody. Would have destroyed all those families. There'd been hatred. There'd been more ill. That was literally, and I don't mean this casually, that really was a history-changing decision. Had I followed orders, it'd been a different, alternate future. Right?
You had been shown this vision many
But I was
years
shown a vision,
before,
and I
been
volunteered,
prompted.
and I was at that place at that time, at that moment. Had anybody else been sitting in that seat, it would have happened. So people go, well, you went over there, and like, I got no apologies. I went over there and I saved people. I'm sorry. Had somebody else took my place, that would have been a whole different thing. So yeah, that's just one of many, many stories. But you have to learn to hear that voice. It's not a loud voice that shouts at you and beats you up. It's very soft. But you know. It's not, I think, I guess, I hope, I wish. It's, I know. Like, sun's coming up tomorrow. I know it. There's no question. I know this is going to happen. I know it. Yeah, I know this helicopter is going to get shot down. This guy's going to get killed. I know it. And I try to tell people and I try to change it. I learned that it's hard to change other people's destiny, not in my hands. But that took me a while to learn. So now when I see something coming, like if you had something coming in your life, I wouldn't directly tell you. I would tell you a story and I'd give you an energy to help you prepare for what you got to see. And you wouldn't even be aware of what I was doing because I'd be so stealth. But I'd get your thinking going a certain way. And I'll tell you that works. I was with a group of people and they did, you can't change. I said, yes, I can set something up so stealthy that it will change how you react. Nah. I said, okay. So I just rambled on for 5 minutes with stupid stuff I was saying. I said, okay. Now, when I wrote down 3 things on a piece of paper, I put it in my pocket. I said, okay, I just practiced what I said I was doing to you. I want each of you right now to write down, don't even think it, put the paper out. Write down a tool. Write down a vegetable. Write down a color. I could have used anything, but I picked those 3. And don't show nobody. Then I took out mine, I put it on the table. Mine said a carrot, red, and a hammer. And everybody took theirs out. It's exactly what 9 people said. So I found a way, and that's terrible because there's good salesmen out there to use the same technique. They just don't know they got control of it. That's why when you got a salesman, if you're going to get a car or something, if they get you to say yes to whatever they say 6 times, you're going to buy their product. Did you know that?
No, I didn't, but I am very aware of, there's definitely a lot of techniques out there.
Okay. So anyway, so now what I do is I manipulate my words and energy together. So it doesn't matter what I say, it's the energy of what I say. I can say Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Still going to have the same effect. Okay? So when I used to tell people this is going to happen, that a prediction, They'd sit around and wait for it to happen. They haven't learned their lesson. They haven't dealt with it. They're entertained if it happens. Oh, yeah, what'd they learn? Nothing. And some of these people have to go through some of these things. Now, I bend the rules when it comes to my family. I tell them, no, you don't do this, boom, boom, boom. I shut things down. I tell them what, and I'll take responsibility for their karma, but not yours or somebody else's, because you're dealing with karma, other people, you're interfering. So anyway, that was a life lesson. It took me a long time to learn. In 1990, that's when I switched over. I had a conversation with a Swami, and he says, all your predictions are correct. Well, you're just entertaining people. What are they learning? He says, if you're really doing your job right, you'll be so stealth and so invisible on what you're doing that when they get done, they're going to say, Reverend Bill, he didn't do anything for me. I figured this out all by myself. He says, and that's when you're successful. They figured it out for themselves. And so that is my goal now, not to tell people directly what things are happening in their life. Like right now, this whole time I've been working on you. So I'll just let it go at that. But then you got to go, well, what does that mean? Where am I going? Well, in time
Well,
you'll
I've
know.
been feeling a lot of energy around my solar plexus, so I know there's something going on.
So when people come to my classes, my workshops, my talks, it's never really directly related to what I say. I mean, there's that level. But then there's the sub-level, which some people figure out. But there's a third level. That's just pure energy work. So they figure out, well, he's telling me a story about this. But there's, subtext on that. But it's the third level that most people don't get. And that's where the real miracles happen. Because when people come to my events, they volunteer to be there. They're supposed to be there. They show up. They've opened up and given me permission to do that. Now, if you haven't opened up, give me permission, I would. I was taking my liberty in saying you were given permission by interviewing and listening, but that's a push. But normally, unless somebody opens up and opens up their heart, I don't intrude. It's like I was in India for 4 months, most of the time in an ashram, not much conversation at all. I was just really working in silence a lot. Came back, and I ended up in Arizona spending a week with Dr. Matsumoto, the guy, the ice crystal guy, yeah. So I spent a week with him.
Consciousness guy.
Yeah. So I spent a week with him in Arizona. We went out to see these Native Americans and their water conferences and everything. And I'm at the hotel, and I just got back from 4 months in ashram. And I'm hearing every conversation in the hotel that night. I'm going, wow, it's just driving me crazy. I could hear everybody's thoughts. And then the next week I went to San Diego, and there was this young movie star, TV star lady was getting married. I know her since she's been born, and her mother, was friends of mine in high school. And I was picking up, I was just an overload. I had to make an effort to shut it down. I was just receiving so much. And it's not good to do. So now I only open up that channel selectively. But sometimes people are so needy when they meet me. They're needy, and they're throwing this energy out, and I'm picking up stuff. Right now, the world is hurting so badly. And when people watch my stuff, I attract a lot of crazy people that are going through some things. But I'm also attracting people that think they're crazy because they're going through things similar to mine. When they're not really crazy, they're just going through similar things like mine. It's hard to distinction. But they come to me, and I have great compassion and everything, but I'm getting overloaded. We are going through a period right now where there's so much hurting. So people that have any empathy at all are overloaded. Impacts. I mean, they're shredded. They can't be any more empathic. Come on, stop help. They got to shut down the machines. So I'm trying to reach a place where I can teach people to kind of level these things out without ever saying that. But if they come to my workshop, I work with them. So I got a program that's hidden in my program, um, kind of like subliminal messages, but it's at a different level. So you're coming for a healing, self-healing workshop, and I'm talking mind, body, soul, the whole thing. And I've not had one on the hundreds we've done. There hasn't been some type of miracle that day, the next day, or a couple days later. It's always a miracle. Always. I mean, big stuff, little stuff. And to me, though, the real miracles is somebody just comes away from there learning to love. And if I get them to love themselves, that's where all the work's at. And they don't realize that, because you could cure them a disease, help them cure a disease or something, but they haven't. It's like pulling a weed out, but you didn't get the root. The weed's going to grow back. So these people that kill the root, they don't kill the root. They just kill the weed on the top. And it's going to come back to them some other form or manner. So every illness, physically, mentally, or spiritually, is spiritually based. And it's based on how much separation you have between you and the source, the creator, the love that's everything. The more space you have, the greater the chance for the illness. So that's kind of where I'm at. That's kind of what I do. And I've not been rejected worldwide. I mean, in Switzerland, India, even in the UK. I mean, even in Wales, for God's sakes, everybody was opening my message, right? It's like, come on. So
Wales is beautiful, boyo.
I caught pneumonia there in the summertime in Wales. Middle of summer, I caught pneumonia, and I'm going, when is the summer there? Every time I've been to Wales, I've never been there where it hasn't been the same weather. I'm going, is this repetitive? Is this a replay? It's wet, cold, overcast, a little windy, always damp. And I'm going, it looks like the world's black and white. I wonder why there's no beautiful color movies coming out of Wales. And anyway, I'm part Wales, but mostly Scotch and Irish and Norwegian, if you can believe that. Viking blood. I think everybody in England is Viking blood. They were everywhere. But so that's it. So worldwide, that's what I'm doing. Probably going to go to Asia this year. Yes.
We spoke earlier, didn't we? And that you said you're coming back to the UK.
I'm going to go to UK. Yeah, I'm coming back. I probably, there's a healing center there. I'm trying to think of the name of it. I can't remember what it's called, but there's the guy that had this beautiful estate and he turned it into a healing center. And
where is it based? Oh, is it Oxford?
It's not too far from Brighton. About halfway between London and Brighton, I think.
It's not one of the Brahmis Kumaris, is it? Or
so some kind of.
Yeah. We'll find out the information, let people know, because it'd be lovely to get you to come up our way as well. Come up this way, Rev.
I will be back.
Hang out with the soul spaces. We'd love to have you over.
We'll be back. I will definitely back to Brighton. I'll be back to this other place. And I'm not going to do London again. It's just too pricey for me. It's just too. There's no place for people to park when they come. And it's like
London is a lot. It's a lot, Bill.
That's an overwhelming.
Yeah, and I'm only an hour away from London. I go in and I get out.
Yeah, it's
love you, London, but
I could see London as if I was a college student or early 20s, maybe 30. I want someplace to hang around, goof around, have a good time for a few years. Yeah, maybe London would be an international scene. I could see that. But for living, no, I'd rather be on the coast or someplace else, Glasgow or someplace or anywhere.
Energy and water that flows.
So anyways,
some sort of nature and yeah, but yeah. So Bill, I wanted to. Funnily, you naturally went on to that topic of miracles. I kept getting. Ask him about miracles. Ask him about miracles.
Okay, I could give you some examples. Here's the thing. Number one, first off, miracles happen every day. The only thing that stops miracles for people is their own belief. They set barriers. Um, they don't open their heart fully, and they're looking for somebody to give it to them. You create miracles, and when they realize that, things change. But no, I like, okay. I'm trying to think where I was at. Bavaria, Germany. We were staying at this hotel, and the hotel said beautiful spa. It was a nice place in Bavarian forest. It was beautiful. And they go, Reverend Bill, you come stay here, and as long as you want. We'll feed you. You can use our meeting rooms, do all this stuff. All we ask of you is to give a 3-day retreat for all our employees and their family. Sure, I can do that. So a 3-day retreat. I fill this thing up, and but I got the other weeks. I got free rooms to do the stuff, teach the people in the town, and bring people in. It was really nice. So, first day of the retreat, you build a certain energy level. Second day, you're building from that first day. It gets greater, right? So that's like a start on a Friday. By the time you get Saturday, all day Saturday, you get a certain energy, and then Sunday comes in. These guys have got this day and a half, 2 days of all my work into them, and they're so much easier to work with at that stage. So we're starting the Sunday, and this German lady she's crying when she comes in, older lady. And so I asked my friend David, my interpreter, to talk to her, find out what the problem was. And he goes, she called her sister. Her sister was in hospice, dying of, I don't know, some kind of cancer, bone cancer, something really bad. Something was really painful. And I can't know exactly what it was. But when she called her in the morning to see how she was in so much pain. She was just crying and sobbing on the phone. She couldn't get any conversation with her. And so she hung up and came to the last day of this retreat. And then she looked at me, gave me that look, and I said, okay, let's hold that thought. And before we went to lunch, I said, okay, I gathered everybody in a big circle around me, huddled in. We're all going to shout out. We're going to put our hands up and send Om healing love. I said, I got no control over when this person's time to die is. That's not mine. Everybody has their own time. Can't change it. I'm sorry. But comfort and pain, we're going to send healing energy for comfort and pain for her. Right? And whatever comes from that, that's hers, right? And we, boom, did our thing, sent it out. Lunch is over. Lady comes back. She's all smiling and happy and everything. She tells the interpreter that when she called her sister said the exact time that we had sent the group prayer to her pain, all of it, 100% of it went away. And she was comfortable. And that was like last May, I think. May, end of April, May. And a few months ago, I got a note saying she's still healthy. She's still pain-free. Everything's going well. I said, okay, fine. So I have no clue when that's, I don't take any credit for it, but because I always taught people that if you believe, it's like a good placebo. If you believe and you're open to it, almost anything works. We can really do something. But then I started doing these quote unquote remote healings at every event after that. And every remote prayer we sent out was just as miraculous as that one, without the people even knowing it. Like the next one I did was in Los Angeles, over by Pasadena. And there was this church. And the pastor, I gave a sermon there on the power of love, of course. And then afterwards, we had everybody gathered in this big room. We're in a healing service. And so I take 2-3 hours to practice self-healing on them. And in the middle of that, I'm walking around, everybody's sitting at these round tables, and the minister's sitting there. There's people around the table, but nobody's hands or feet are touching the table. It's just their separate chairs are back. And I go over the table, and I'm giving a hands-on energy healing for this woman there. And about 2 feet, 3 feet away from her is her water bottle. And when I put the hands on there and started charging her, the water bottle turned into like a geyser. It was. Then I put my hands off and went. The minister saw that and I go, "You saw that?" She goes, "I said, watch again." I did it again. Make sure nobody, I'm looking around, nobody touched nothing, right? And then stopped, right? So then she goes, "Hey," she says, "can you do remote healing?" I said, "Well, there's no such thing as remote healing." She goes, "What do you mean?" There's only one place. Here, close your eyes, we're all in the same place, right? So, yeah, we can do it. She says, "Well, we got this person that belongs to the church, beautiful lady. She had a stroke. She's been in a coma for 3 weeks unconscious. And they think she's going to pass over. I mean, what are they going to do? I mean, they can't do anything for her." And I said, "We're going to send her healing love. Let love determine what it wants to do." Right? So, whole group, we send up Om, and all this kind of stuff. And next day when I'm home, I get a call from the minister saying that that lady, the next day or that evening or whatever, sometime shortly after that, she woke up from the coma, had a meal, fed herself. If you've ever seen anybody that come out of a coma they're not feeding themselves, they're stroke, She had a real stroke, but she fed herself and was able to talk. And she was starting therapy the next day. Got a message from that person. The person's pretty much recovered. So that's 2 remotes. There's more examples. You want examples of miracles. I've had them come in there needing operations and surgery a few days from then. I give them the hands-on, and then a couple days later, they go, "I went to the doctor and we canceled the surgery. There's nothing wrong." "Oh, okay, great. I'm happy." End of story. I don't get excited, and I don't take credit for it. I tell them when they try to, I said, "What's the name of the class?" "Well, self-healing." Duh, self-healing. All I'm doing when I put your hands on you is charging your dead battery. It's like you had a great car, but the battery's not strong enough. I'm just giving you a little current, but it's you healing you. I don't want to take credit. Only the source heals, but the source is the same source in me as you. Because you got too many people out there doing healing and they always take credit for it. I'm the healer. No, there's only one healer, the source. It's all one.
South and be the instrument. The channel. Be the channel.
So it's
and
like.
Would you say that the love is the activation for that channel?
Love is it. That's all there is. So just by teaching people to love themselves, I'm seeing healings physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. I've witnessed quite a lot over the last few years, especially. I've seen, been part of it myself and experienced it myself, hands-on, and seen it. And there's, again, if people want to have a little research out there's so many accounts been documented in different ways. It's just fast. I don't know how people can't find all this fascinating and beautiful and intriguing and want to experience these things. But like you say, it is about, one, seeking out the right people that are doing it, that are doing this line of work from the heart and not the ego.
Well, there's all kinds of
for the best
there's all kinds of teachers out there, and there's all kinds of messages. And I try to tell people, don't focus on the teacher. Focus on the message. So, because people are just messengers, and they're human beings, and if you put your faith into them, then you got a cult, and you're following that person instead of the God who's within them, who's within you, and you're not connecting with the us. So, because I get a lot of people, "Oh, no, I'm not your guru. No, I'm not your teacher. No, I'm not." Just back off. I'm trying to make you the best you can be, but I need your help. You need your help. You got to buy in. And a lot of people out there are tempted when you start doing things like I'm doing. People want to they just want to throw themselves at your feet, literally, and you can do no wrong. And I'm going, don't do that to me.
So do you think, because what is that? What is that? Are they disempowered? Are
They're always
they
they're always
not
looking for
feeling
something.
their
They're looking for something outside of themselves, and they're not willing to say, "I am God." It's
yeah?
like it's all me. It's all us.
So
It's
they're not
one.
connected to their own divinity, their own power.
They
They don't understand what they're able or capable of achieving or is doing
everybody
so.
wants somebody outside of them to save them, and I tell people, look in the mirror. You looking for a savior? Look in the mirror. You want a teacher? Look in the mirror. Now,
100%.
obviously, we have people out there that are delusional. They're hearing crazy voices in their head. They got stuff going on. So they're at some level where telling them that they're their own teacher and their own guru and their own healer. Well, yeah, but not now. But you know, and so therefore they need somebody at a level to bring them up. They need a guru. They need a teacher. There's a place for that. But I teach people, well, if you're going to go that route, just always remember, don't worship the messenger. Worship the message. Because the messenger may not be perfect. And some of these gurus out there get it's a guru business, trust me. And everybody out there, you got to come to my workshop. It's only $3,000 for the weekend, I go, holy cow, I'm giving everything away free. And I'm going, and people will come to me and they'll do all my stuff for free. Then they'll go to one of these $1,500 3-day weekends someplace. I'm going, and they get crap from these people. And I'm going, so when people spend money, they think they're getting something. So the people that are coming to me are supposed to come to me, and that's the way I handle it. That's my responsibility. And I've seen their faces. I know who's coming, and they're going to receive what they're able to receive. In other words, if they come to me with a cup and they want water for my soul, I'll give them a cup. If they come to me with a thimble, I'll fill the thimble. If they come to me with a bucket, I'll fill the bucket. If they come to me with a swimming pool, I'll fill the swimming pool. If they come to me as the ocean, open to everything, I'll give them everything there is. I can only give them what they'll hold. And a lot of people only come to me with a thimble. Just fill the little thimble up, the cup, they're happy. They're not ready for more. And so for me to make judgments on that or to get irrational and I go, no, you know what? They're not ready. But in the future now, I just planted the seeds. Future now, somebody will cultivate those seeds. It'll grow. So sometimes I never see the results of what I'm doing, but down the road, it happens. So there you go. Bill.
I love you, Bill. I do. I just find you so fascinating. Bill, talk about energy work.
Yeah.
I love it. So I'm going to come over and visit and see you, partake in one of your
California?
beautiful sessions. Because I'm always looking to expand and learn and grow and experience more. Anyway, I just feel that.
I'll throw something out to you. Because next year, 2026, I'm going to stop doing these individual workshops. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing people that want to practice this at a teacher level. And so I'm only looking for those people that want to perpetuate what I'm teaching because I'm over time. I'm past my time. I'm supposed to be gone. I mean, let's put it this way. I've had congestive heart failure for over 20 something years. That's off the charts. I mean, I should have been dead, right? 36 heart attacks, you name it, everything, blown up shot. I'm past my time. I know I'm past my time. But I have time given to me because I still got, more. Like I wrote 4 books in the last 4 months. So, I mean, I got books, I got videos. Well, my main gift is I'm looking for dozens, not hundreds, not thousands. I'm looking for dozens of people that want to teach what I'm sharing with the world at their level with their knowledge, because I've given up looking for somebody that's like me. I thought, well, it'd be easy to find people that meditate 8, 10, 12 hours a day and go to India for 3 or 4 months at a time and live in a cave for a month. No, no. Now, do you meditate 3, 4 times a week? Okay, come on in. I can work with you. So I need raw products where I can motivate them. But trying to find people that are ripe and ready, no. And trying to get people that will go out and do big workshops, and no. If I can find people that they want to work with a handful of people, or 2 people, or 1 person, one-on-one, great. If they want to do podcasts and broadcast the same stuff, that works. If they want to go big and they want to write books, I'm seeking people of all levels, because what's happening is this. I've spent about 80 years of my life learning, accumulating. What a shame it would be to leave here in a few years without having gifted this information to everybody that wants it.
Yeah, I feel that, Bill. In 100%, you, and that was one of the reasons why I was drawn to connect with you. And it's not just me; it's about what's all that beautiful gold that's inside of you, Bill. You are such a light.
All right, first
And
off,
the conversation I had with
if you know me long enough, you know I'm just a fat Irishman that likes to talk and loves people. But
That's all right. I'm just a Covetarian
there
bird
you go.
who's from, yeah. I've got a backstory as well, babe. We're real. However, the difference is we know that the importance of service. We know the importance of evolution and growth and love and forgiveness and gratitude. And we know the importance of sharing as much light as possible in the time that we've got. And when you have, as you say, you've accumulated a lot in this time that you've been here. You're not your average Joe, Bill. And that's why I've kind of fallen in love with you.
All right. As
And I
I'm
don't fall
talking
in love
to
with
you,
just anyone, Bill.
no.
Jeff
I'm looking
Thompson.
at you with your name, Sarah Soul Space, on there, and all I'm seeing in my mind is SSS, and I'm picturing a cobra in a good way, like in the spine.
Well, I've been working with
It's
snake
interesting why you
energy.
just sat up, because it's the cobra energy. So just by virtue of you using 3 S's, you've kind of blessed your own broadcast with this cobra energy, is what I call kind of a kundalini energy. Whether you thought about that potentially or not, I don't know. But it's like the sound the snake makes. Right? And so when I saw that, exactly what I saw was this corals cobra going up your back. Anyway, I don't know what that got to do anything, but that's just
I love that. But actually, Bill, you're absolutely right, because I have been working with a lot of the Kundalini snake energy, and the soul space name was dropped in and given to me, because I was asking, and what we're going to call it, and then it dropped in, and then my partner, who we duo with the interviews sometimes, Kimmy, she had a couple of ideas, and we wrote them down, and I said, right, we're going to fold them up. The soul space.
there you go.
The soul space. And do you know what? There is so much power in words, as we know. Sounds, frequencies. Everything's got an energy. But that was, my heart was warm. My solar plexus is whirring. Yeah. So I know what you mean, because when your name was mentioned, when Tony Summers and I had a really good conversation, and he mentioned you. Who's this? What's his name? And it was like my ears suddenly went. You just know. And there's been very few people in my life, and they've been mentors or turned out to be teachers. And the feeling that I had when I was hearing your name and hearing about your story, because then I just said, right, I've got to go and research this guy. I've got to connect with Bill. I need his frequency and his teachings and his stories over this way. I had it when I met Jeff, mutual friend of ours, Jeff Thompson. who became quite a pronounced mentor in my life through the writing to start off with. And then he mentored me through all my stuff when I was cleaning a lot of stuff out of my life. And now we're friends. And bless him, he was my first guest on my episode. You know, so there's been evolution there, but going back to that feeling, I had that with Jeff. I've had that probably with one other person, and I've had it with you. So I just want to share that. I know you have got the most, you've got light, you've got teachings, you've got the wisdom. And
I think there's somebody you need to meet. Okay, I'll phrase it. There's a guy in England, outside of London, or he's getting ready to sell his house. I don't know where he's going to be at, but Raymond O'Brien, who's a medical intuitive, and he's actually licensed there. And I didn't know they had that, but he works in a hospital there, and they bring somebody in when they can't figure something out, so he'll say, I see this. He points things out, and they find it.
oh wow,
And he's also an animal whisperer. He's really good at horses and birds and fox and stuff like that.
Wow.
And so, in fact, when I was there, I was working with the royal family, and they had some camels. They had 4 camels, and a couple of them were having some problems and stuff. I said, I got just the guy. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with the camels. This was over by Stonehenge, wherever that area over there is called. And the Duke, the Duchess and the Duke. Anyway, they had these camels. And so he came out there and he worked on their camels for them and everything. And they were happy. So, but Raymond O'Brien used to be a rock and roll bad guy. And then he had this multiple heart attacks, I don't know, 10, 12 of them in a few days. And he had all these near-death experiences. And it changed him. It woke him up to what he's supposed to do. And he's really, really good at diagnosing, and like for especially animals. I mean, he came to California and he was working with a bunch of horses and stuff, and just interesting character. But he would be good. He'd be a good guy to have on your show, because it's a totally different place, and he's not the goody two shoe guy, because he started off bad boy. You know, I mean, you picture the bad boy rock and roller, drugs, rock and roll, the whole thing.
I love that. That's what. Yeah, absolutely love that. I want that. People that are real, that have got a past.
And now he's
colourful.
so grown, so changed, and I think the world likes this. What's the story I'm looking for? Alger. What was it? There was this story where you go from rags to riches type thing. People like to see the prodigal son become successful, and when people change, it's always inspiring, because people look at it and say, well, this wasn't a perfect human being. And now look at him, they're doing all this neat stuff, right? And he still says, hey, I'm not a perfect human being. I'm just doing this stuff, right? But he's a friend anyway. So
he sounds intriguing. Yes, I'll have to definitely contact and see if he would be. Yeah, I love that. Absolutely sounds fantastic.
Raymond O'Brien, it's on Facebook and everything else, but Raymond O'Brien, and I met him in Philadelphia when he came over. I was a keynote speaker at the IANS conference there, and he came over as a speaker as well. And so we met there. That was 2019. Had a great time. And then my last trip to England, he was with me was he with me in London? But I know he was with me in on the coast, Brighton. Is that the place, Brighton? And
it's lovely. We like Brighton. So, Bill, with your books. Sorry.
Yeah, I got books. He doesn't have a book yet.
I want you to tell us a little bit more about your books. You said you've written about 4 in the last.
Oh, yeah, I got okay. This is.
Tell us.
I remember tomorrow.
Oh, look at you! I love that photo.
See these? This is an art.
Beautiful. They look like orbs.
Every picture they took, like on the back of the book there, see those? Those were orbs.
I was going to say you can see they're orbs. That's all.
And,
I love
and the
that.
person goes, "Oh, I got to redo the pictures." I go, "Well, don't get rid of those."
You look very dashing and handsome on your photo. I have to say.
It's perfect for my book cover.
Love it.
So,
So what's the, tell us about this one.
Okay, that's talks about my workshops and stuff. Talks personal stories, a lot of miracle stuff. Uh, and then at the end of the book, the last chapter, I got a section called "What Others Say" because stuff I can't say about me, but other people are. From my naughty palm leaf reading, from my astrology chart, from Eric Starwalker who did this, chart, and then from channeling and all that stuff. So I put down the things that they say about me, which is I can't say about me, but it sounds great. But if I said it, it sounds like this guy's got an ego. So I thought, I'm going to throw it in the back of the book. What the hell? And then, of course, my first book, or actually my second book, autobiography, Warrior Spiritual Odyssey, and it's 300 some pages. And I didn't even put my near-death experience in here as a child. I just go, people don't want to hear about that. But it's got Vietnam. It ends at Machu Picchu. It ends at Machu Picchu where I have a heart attack on Machu Picchu. Thought I was going to die. And I wrote my own obituary. And that's how I end my book, with my obituary. And then I got Prayers and Blessings I wrote this year. There you go.
Let's see it. Bring it to the camera. Oh, you look very dashing on that as well. I love that.
Okay.
So, okay.
And then
take note, people. But you read these in that order. Go from Warrior first, then to that one.
These are ones I just did. Then I decided to do another poetry book, Sacred Verses.
That's good.
And these are really. I was even impressed with them. Actually, this is selling more than my other books. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
I wrote it for me.
I love that. I definitely want them books, but that one is resonating a lot. I must read Sacred Verses, 100%.
I get books everywhere. All right, then there's this one with many trips to India. Alchemy of a Warrior's Heart. Talk about all these gurus and neat spiritual things happen. And my out-of-body experience where I transport to two body experience.
Wow. And for anyone who doesn't know about any of this, I mean, obviously there's stuff online on YouTube.
All these books up here I've written.
Wow, what stories
all
they
those
are.
Books down here. It's just, but right now I'm writing these things down because I see an end of the road. And if I don't say it and write it down, because you can't, I wrote 4 books from November, December, January, February, and I had 4 books out. You can't sell 4 new books. I mean, it's like, but I go, no, it goes against all marketing. I go, no, I got to write them because they'll be around a while. So,
highly recommend that people give them a read. I'm resonating with one of your books big time. I want to read them all, Bill, because I haven't read one yet. I haven't read them any right now because I've only not long found out about you. So I've been YouTubing you. But your Sacred Verses one is really resonating. But
I am a spice. You want to just use a pinch. It's not like ketchup. You just can't put it on everything. A little bit of me goes a long way. But so I am going to be doing some more YouTube videos. I'm trying to get my thoughts and my teachings out there. Because when I'm gone, they have that and they have the books. I'm working on another book right now. It's going to come out in November. So I'm just rolling them out. It's just rolling out. And I got my books coming. Well, my books are in German, Spanish, English, of course. But it's weird that Germany is one of my big markets. I go, who knew? Germans. And in India, the land of all this great knowledge, my ebooks, and I sell them really cheap there, like $4.95 or something like that, right? My ebooks. And my ebooks, I'm averaging about $225 a month for the last 8 years, just on ebooks, and I'm only making about $1 or something for each ebook, right? So that's like a lot of ebooks every single month for 8 years. That's like, and you would think that I'm basically taking what which the gurus teach and make very complicated and have rituals for everything and words for everything and mythology for everything. And they do all this great stuff. And I come to him, I spit it back to him, childlike, easy. Here, just easy. Same idea, but easy. People aren't looking for big explanations anymore. They're not looking for big wordages and stuff. It's like, no, they just want it simplest way possible.
Simple,
And in my last
yet
readings,
effective.
basically, my reading said, write your books simple. Keep them simple. Because people they don't want any more big books like 300 and some pages. They want 100 and some pages, 200 pages. It's like this generation, they don't want to read a lot of pages. They want short little stories. Every one of my book is a little short story, all nonfiction. And they deal with, well, it's like, okay, for example, this book starts off the first chapter where I get a telephone call from the police thanking me for spending the evening talking some veteran into retiring or into giving himself up. They had 100 and some police surrounding him for 17 hours, and he killed one of them, and and everything. And this thing went 17-hour siege. And then when he gave himself up, he told the police that he gave himself up because Reverend Bill spent the night with him, telling him to be calm and don't shoot anybody, and to give himself up. And so they called me to thank me, and I'm going. They thought that he was a little crazy because he said I was with him. And so they thought I was on the phone with him. I was sleeping a dead sleep the whole night. And I'm sitting on my couch. I hadn't seen the news yet. And I go, yeah, okay, fine, this crazy talk. Because I get these kind of crazy calls all the time. I get thanked for saving somebody's life or suicide or something. Okay, great. Thank you. Bye. But the police departments all thank me. I got recognition for saving this guy, and I had no knowledge of it. So then I turn on the news, and it shows helicopters and police cars and, all the rifles, this guy coming out, being arrested and everything. He was guilty, but it was like he swore to them that I was with him all night long. And that would be an unusual story, but that's the normal in my life. I get people blaming me for being cured, being healed, stopping a suicide, making them sober. So when I got in this book, at the end of the book, this guy's channeling me and doing a star chart. It basically says you do 90% of your work out of your body when you're sleeping, but basically. So it's like, and that guy didn't even know me. I go, really? Okay, so that made sense. But that's another whole. I'm throwing this stuff out like that happens to everybody. But
no, I totally get that. I understand that all too well.
And hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of people have made claims that I'm with them at different times of their life, helping them through a situation. And I run into them years later, months later, whatever. They send me an email. You saved my life. You did this. Yeah. Okay, great. So I don't dwell on it. I just, it's like my philosophy has always been before samadhi, sweep the porch, get a bucket of water, cut firewood. After samadhi, sweep the porch, get a bucket of water, cut firewood. That's about as excited as you get. Doesn't matter what happens. You got to stay there. It's like I was writing this book, and I was getting ready to write a chapter about an orb experience I had. I mean, a big, huge, living, breathing orb. Looked like the size of a basketball, like a sun, like shards of light coming out of it, just bright. I was meditating, and the room got bright, and I look up in the corner of the wall was this orb floating. It was like kind of moving around, and it looked like small sunshine, the size of a basketball. And I'm just looking at it. I'm going, oh, I'm feeling love, and something's getting downloaded at some level. It's like I was getting a download or something, but it was like just love. I didn't ask any questions. And then all of a sudden, there's this loud, like a sonic boom, like a bang explosion. Boom! And it just goes into thousands of pieces, like fireworks when they go off, and you see and there's like the light and all the shards of light, like glass, penetrating my chakras, and I'm just going, wow, that's really cool, right? But I thought, man, I better go upstairs. My wife's going to be worried. She's going to wonder what the explosion was. Nobody heard nothing. All right, so 25 years later, I'm going to write about that. And I thought, well, what's to say? I didn't know what it was all about. It was like, I was at my computer, sitting just a few feet over here in the same room, and I said, well, if that ever happens again, I'm writing out these questions, and I wrote like 20 something questions. It was on my screen, questions. Ever happens again, I got questions. I'll just ask this thing, right? And then I feel something looking at me, and I look up, and in the corner of this room, there's the same exact orb, blazing. I just look at it for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, whatever. Felt loved. On my screen is the pictures of all the typed out questions. Boom, explodes, charge light come in, nobody hears nothing. Same exact experience, because I wanted to remember the experience to write about it. So I got the experience, and I didn't ask it one question, even though I'd just spent minutes before. If this ever happens again, I'm going to ask these questions. So it was like the universe laughing at me. Okay, you got the questions written. And I didn't ask one question, because it really is, when you have these experiences, there are no questions. Your mind is not engaged. It's not thinking. It's not asking questions. It's just accepting. It's like, okay. My feelings afterwards was, that was a living, breathing, I don't know about breathing, but a living thing. That was a spiritual, enlightened being. And the explosion, it penetrated all my chakras. It was like a download again. Like, okay, here's another upgrade your operating system. And I keep getting these experiences where my operating system keeps getting downloaded and upgraded, if that makes sense. Anyway, so when I wrote about it in the book, I put the two things together, but it's like when I was flying back home here last month from Texas, I was exhausted. And I look out the window, we're flying over Nevada at 34,000 feet, and I see these two bright lights on the ground on top of this little mountain. And all of a sudden they go, and then start little tiny lights. They keep coming towards the aircraft, right? We're getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I get the lady next to me, and we're looking at this thing, what it was. And then all of a sudden they were all over the place. And I'm getting charged. It was like I was in the electric car charger, like I was getting. I finally took a picture of it, but I was in the middle seat, so it was hard. I got a picture of these things, and it was like.
Did you feel anything?
So.
Because you're aware of that, you can see.
Yeah,
that.
but then I posted something on it. People go, well, why didn't you take videos? Why didn't you take more pictures? You could be 1,000 questions to all doubt what you see and feel. And I'm going, look, I've flown probably 400 commercial flights and over 2,000 combat hours flying. I know things in the air. I'm telling you, there wasn't a reflection of light from the cabin, and everything else. But and then people go, oh, you got to ask people. You got to interview people. You should talk to the pilots when you're done. I go, why? I seen it. That's all I need. I don't need lady next to me saw it. I don't need to do a survey of the aircraft. It's like.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Did anybody else catch it or be aware of it? Or?
She was next to me. She saw it.
Yeah.
Everybody else had their little shades down. And
yeah. Well, people are kind of in their own
so
world a lot of the time, aren't they?
It was for me.
Yeah. So I love that. I love that.
So that's in my next book I'm working on anyway. So, and I needed that energy because when I went back, the following week, I went to Los Angeles to do a exorcism. That's another whole part of life we didn't even talk about. Exorcism. They're real. There are dark figures. Not everybody says they need an exorcism or possessed. I'd say 90-some% of those people are just crazy. But there's that small group. There's real stuff going on. This was one of those. Anyway, so you asked me what I do. I'm all over the place on the map. So
you do exceptional work, Bill. You are. No, you are.
I'll tell you this, though. I don't know if it's exceptional. but I'm certainly one of a kind because who do you call? Ghostbusters, right? Who do you call when you got this? They end
I
up calling.
know.
It's like I do this. I did an exorcism in Wales. I did California a couple times. And, I go around different places, and every time it takes a physical toll on me. It almost kills me.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
yeah, I mean, it really, really, it's dangerous.
yeah,
I
yeah.
tell
I can
people
imagine. I know
if
what
you don't
it's
know what
like
you're
doing
doing,
energy work on the level I work at on people, and sometimes I'm like, after it can be, but I can't even imagine what that would be. That'd be like wiped out.
so it's
But that in itself is a fantastic topic of conversation.
yeah. The guy flew me down to Southern California. I get this hotel, and I say, okay. So I talked to him for part of the day. I said, I'll be back. At 7:30. We're gonna do this thing, and I said, I'm gonna do most of it when I'm sleeping because I said, if you really need the belief, I could do the razzmatazz, I could burn the incense, I could do all this crazy stuff, make it look shamanism. But that's for you. It's not for me, and it's not going to change what's going to really happen. I said, I'm going to do this outside my own body. And so before I went back to his room, I don't know if you know anything about me, but the owl, there's a little owl in here, right? Little owl. Anyway, somebody sent that to me. Owls are my totem, my animal thing. And so I told him, I said, before we do this, I asked him, I said, you should bring some owls, pictures. So I didn't bring it. So I said, let's walk around the hotel. So we walked around the hotel, went down, go to the elevator. At the elevator, they got 3 pictures of owls by the elevator, this real richy hotel. Go downstairs, they're by the desk, there's some more. Every wall we looked at, there was owls. Great. All right. So I went back to the room. I said, I'll see you in 40 minutes or something. And I'm out in the balcony of this hotel, and he's down a little bit. And all of a sudden, I hear this flutter of wings, and I look up, and there's a big owl up above. I'm on the 6th floor, and it's up above me on the roof. And it flies down over the top of my balcony, circles right down over the swimming pool with the lights in the swimming pool, big, huge pool. And you can see the lights shimmering on the wings of the owl, and then it goes up. And there's a palm tree right outside this room where the guy's at. And it lands in the palm tree adjacent to his room. I go, okay, now it's time for me to go down. I got my owl. I got my okay. We'll go down there and do this. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But
the end of that.
It was just a typical
Down
exercise.
to the next sizzle.
But then I worked on it until 3:00 in the morning. And at 3:00 in the morning, it was like a knife, like you took a dagger and put it on fire. It was red hot, white hot. And it was like this demon just stabbing it into my eyeball. It was like terrible pain. But then demon's gone. I go, great, I've got rid of it, but it hurt, right? And then I go to the airport that morning and I have a heart attack for about an hour. It just killing me. So it was trying to get me. So it takes its toll. It's like when I've been doing my healing stuff now, it started in Hawaii. I started doing like 100 some people, I think I did 140 some people hands on. And when I get through, hours later, the nose would bleed, right? I'm hemorrhaging. So I go to Texas and I did long couple groups there, several days. And the last group I did, they just kept pushing me. I kept doing more and more and more. And then the nose just started bleeding. As soon as I finished, within a minute later, I'm bleeding all over the place, the nose. So I got to protect myself. I got to bring the energy down just a little bit. So that's the kind of work I do. But see, it takes its toll. In case you're wondering, that's the owl feather. It takes its toll on my physical body, and so I really need periods. I need periods where I really got to recharge. So
yeah,
there you go. That's kind of what I do for fun, and but I travel the world and I don't do any tourist stuff. It's like they always want to show me someplace. I go, yeah, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. And
we love you. We love you. We appreciate you. We see you. Thank you so much, Bill. Do you know what? Where has the time gone? Because Taylor's just gone, it's time. We are now coming, sadly, to the end of this session. But from my heart and from everyone who's tuning in and listened, thank you for taking the time to listen. I'm sure they've fallen a bit in love with you, same as me. But thank you so much for accepting the invitation to join me today.
Well, I'll tell you this. When I go back to England, we'll do it right there. Pull the second chair.
Gosh, Bill, come to Coventry.
We'll do
to
a
the
live.
studio. We'll arrange a little gathering with Jeff and Tony and a little reunion. We'll go for a cup of tea.
You get Tony. He's my buddy.
Yeah, Tony. Oh, yeah. He absolutely thinks the world of you.
I took him.
Thank you, Tony, for connecting us.
I took him over 3,000 miles in my truck. Just in Northern California, Oregon, and a little bit of Nevada. You know, I took Lake Tahoe, Yosemite, Mount Shasta, Mount Lassen, Mount St. Helens, the coast. I mean, I took him to all these beautiful places. And I kept telling him, I said, see it now because it's all going to burn down. And a lot of them are burnt. So I kept seeing fire everywhere. Yeah. California is not destined for greatness here lately. But you enjoy.
We know everything has a time and things.
And Tony shares a birthday. Tony shares a birthday with my youngest grandson. And when he was here, we went out to dinner, and he's my guest. I took him, and we're celebrating my grandson's birthday and the cake and everything. And the whole time he kept his mouth shut. Never said anything that it was his birthday as well. Yeah. And later on, I found out, he goes, hey, I didn't want to take any light away from your grandson. And I go, how thoughtful. I mean, that's really thoughtful, right? So they share the same birthday and everything. So it was kind of cool.
Tony, so much we love you. But so Bill.
Yes.
It's a date coming over to the UK and spend some time with this lot up here, the cool gang. And I'll get you in the studio and we'll talk more in depth. And for anyone who's interested in learning more about Bill and his journey and his experiences and his multitude of stories, and you've got so much to share. We haven't even touched the surface, really. You've got your Nadi reading stuff and everything. Just Google it, read it. It's all there. But he has absolute gold and magic to share. So 3 things for today: love, forgiveness, and gratitude. Keep it simple yet effective. So Bill, thank you so much again. I'm absolutely honoured to have connected with you. And till next time. And thank you everyone for watching.